Hey, what's up guys, and today I'm going to be going over what I think is one of the best decks in the upcoming format, Pure Mitsurugi. So obviously we just got a ban list, and a lot of decks were hit. Yugioh was hit, Vanquish was hit, yugioh wasn't hit, but Pure Mitsurugi wasn't hit, and I think honestly Pure Mitsurugi lines up really nicely into the meta. So why do I think that? Well, for starters, the most represented deck is probably going to be Yummy, and this deck has an extremely good Yummy matchup. You don't care about any of the in-archetype Yummy disruption at all. You don't care if your guys get Book of Moon, you don't really care about the pops, you know, like none of that stuff really matters. The only thing you really care about is Arclight. And then like Arclight isn't soloing like 6 engine cards, right? So you're actually able to play through like the Yummy board with engine like very often. So I think that's a really nice benefit to playing this deck. Also, I think in general the deck is just super strong. Like, and it's fundamentally, I think it's a sound deck. It's good into interaction like hand traps. There aren't many hand traps that you randomly get like completely like destroyed by. So I think it's a really nice benefit for the deck. So starting off, I'll talk about the card ratios, and I'll go more in depth and theory wise. So starting off, we have 3 pots, 1 prosperity, 2 extrav. I know some people play like 3 extrav, but I think like prosperity is like the best consistency card in the game. Also, this list is similar to like a lot of people's lists, just because like the deck, there's not much like theory to do with the deck. But yeah, 3 pre-prep, 3 habakiri, 3 prayers, 3 ritual. I think 3 ritual is better than 2 ritual, because ritual is like the best card to activate going second into the Yummy board, like by far. Like, I'm trying to draw this card plus like a ritual monster into Yummy for sure. So you definitely want 3 ritual, 2 Murakumo, 1 Futsu. I think 2 Murakumo is nice for the ground game. Also, in the upcoming format, it's looking like there's going to be a lot of Mitsurugi mirrors, so I think it helps the mirror match. And then the 2 Aramasa, 1 Saji, 1 Kusunaji, and 1 Night Sword Serpent, just to give you more plays. Also, I think Joel might see a little bit more play in the side deck. So having it for that is nice too. You could potentially side the Night Sword Serpent, but no, gotta figure that out. 1 Mirror, 1 Magatama. Maybe, arguably, you could play Purification, because for the mirror match, it's better. That's something like and I'm not 100% sure, because like, I think for the mirror match, it's better. And for yugioh, you'd probably rather have Purification. So maybe you main Purification side Magatama. I don't know. I'm still figuring that out. And I'll talk about yugioh matchup later. And then for the non-engine, so this deck, you can play through boards really with engine really nicely. So you don't, even though you can't play that much non-engine, you don't need your non-engine to like SDK the opponent by itself, right? Because normally when a deck can't play that much non-engine, you want to play like high value non-engine, like Dark Ruler, Charmies, whatever. So here I have Tactics. In the beginning of a format, the format's gonna be very wide, so I think you just want like generic stuff. So Tactics is a generic card, generically very good. Droplet. Droplet's pretty cool. Droplet's one of those cards that's kind of good into like a lot of decks, so that's why I wanted to play it. It's funny because like against Yummy, I said you actually want to stop Arclight, and this is not the best card to like just stop Arclight, so arguably the Droplet could be something else. But also the format's just not going to be Yummy, right? So I'm liking it right now, but it could be another card. Callby, I think Callby is going to be insane in the new format, not because it stops hand traps, or no, sorry, not because it's stopping hand traps you care about, like, you know, like Molcharmies and whatever, because this deck is really good into Molcharmies, even though I don't think Broly is going to see play. But Callby, I think Callby is crazy going second. So Callby into Yummy is really nice because number 1, it outs Arclight, and number 2, you can call by, even if they don't have Arclight, you can call by like a name in their graveyard when they're trying to do plays, and that can really limit their like their interaction. So I think it's really nice for that. And against yugioh, I think it's a very strong card as well, both going first and going second. So call by, I'm a big fan. Dominus Impulse, I think Dominus Impulse is really strong. Against Yummy, Dominus Impulse solo actually doesn't really do a whole lot, because it doesn't really stop Arclight. Unless you want to like, gamble, and like the usual being school, you gamble and pray is their only starter. But I think the Impulse is really good in the other matchups. So yugioh is probably going to be one of the most played decks. And I think yugioh probably has like a favorite matchup into this deck. It's very easy for yugioh to go second against this deck. Force out a lot of your interaction, like the prayers, like the Urgula and stuff like that. And Impulse is really good in yugioh because you can stop their ways to fusion summon. And if they can't fusion summon, they can't break your board. So I think Impulse is really good. And then obviously into the Mitsurugi mirror, I think Impulse is one of the best cards to have. So I like the Dominus Impulse in the main deck. Tree Fua, I think Fua is just the card that's like good into everything alongside Ash. In the mirror, it's not really that great. Against yugioh, it's not great per se, but you're going to get at least a draw out of it. And then going second, you can kind of break apart the board of engine, I think, a little bit, depending on your hand. So I think like you don't really care about the horn. It's really just like the flame is the only disruption you care about. So, and then against Yummy, it's obviously crazy. So I think Fua is really good right now. And then it's like level 4, so you have the utility to be able to normal summon it for like a rank 4, like Gallant Granite or Dugars. And then Ash is kind of similar to Impulse. Like against Dragatail, stops all the fusion plays. Against Yummy, it doesn't really stop Arclight, but against all the other decks, I think it's strong enough that I want it. Obviously, and I'm not playing it for like Motorami reasons, obviously. And then the one Nibiru becomes searchable off Gallant Granite. The extra deck, it's an extra deck, so you're a little bit limited in what you have access to. But 2 IP, 2 SP, 2 Dynamundo, a Dark Charmer, a Gorgon, just to have another avenue to deal with Liger Dancer. Typhon, Zeus, Gallant Granite, Dugaris, Baguska, Tornado, and Light Dragon McNister. So, what are some other options you have to play the deck? So like I said, I think the Dragatoh matchup is very rough. One way you could kind of make that better is by playing Fiendsmith version, because obviously Moon was banned, but you can still access Fiendsmith via Exciton Knight. So how do I feel about Fiendsmith in this deck? I think into Yummy, it makes your deck worse. Absolutely, because Wave King is not good into Yummy. And the reason Wave King is not good into Yummy is that even though it can stop OB in school, engage Hornet Drones, it loses to one name, because it's normal summon name, place minion effect, and Wave King cannot negate minion. Then go like Cupsy Yummy way, search 2, summon Cupsy, add, link 1, Book of Moons, and then just like kill you from there. Like one name is like OTK through Wave King, like by itself, like which is crazy. So I don't think Wave King is good against Yummy. And I think going second against Yummy, opening a Fiendsmith card is very, very bad, because the strength of this deck is that it's really good into the Yummy engine, right? The Yummy engine disruption, but the Fiendsmith cards like are the opposite of that. But I think Fiendsmith makes your deck better into the mirror match and into Dragatail, like a lot. Because like Wave King is really good into the mirror match and it's really good into Dragatail. So that's like something I'm thinking about. I think some people play bigger engines, trying to make use of like Tract, Lurie, and the Fiendsmith Lacrima that just got unbanned. But I don't think that's correct, because like I said, I don't think you want to open a Fiendsmith card in this deck. Even though like you technically have less access to it without Moon, I don't think you want to open it, because I don't think it's good to open going second. And the thing with this Fusion Lacrima is that for this card to have value, you basically have to play Engraver and Lurie. So it basically is telling you have to put, you're gonna be playing at least okay, like 2, 1, 1, so that's 4, 5. Maybe this is 6. 5 to 6 cards in your main deck that I don't really want to open into like a matchup. I don't really want to do that, you know? So I don't think you play the big engine. I think you just play the small Fiendsmith engine in this deck if you do decide to play it. Also, if you do decide to play Fiendsmith in this deck, I would not play Paradise. The reason I would not play Paradise, because I don't think it's good into Yummy. Like they have, so most of their hands are going to be able to play around Paradise or Desiree Sen super easily. It's not going to kill Dragatail for obvious reasons. And then into Mitsurugi matchup, I don't think it's great either. No, I'm not saying it never can have value into Dragatail or the mirror match, but like, let's be honest, like, Paradise is, like, lackluster to them, right? And it's a brick in a deck that already plays a lot of bricky / dependent cards. So, are we really going to do that? Probably not. So, I would not play Paradise personally. If I were playing Fiendsmith in the deck, I would just play a small engine, an Engraver, a Lacrima, and a Tract, or a Sanct, sorry. I would not play the Lurie and the Tract and the Fiendsmith Lacrima, which I know might be tempting because like, oh my god, you just got banned and the card's good. And look, in a vacuum, this card is very, very good. However, I don't think it is worth playing. I mean, arguably you can still play it for like time. Well, I guess there's no time rule anymore. Yeah, I forgot about that. Never mind, yeah, don't play this card. Sorry guys, I lost track of things. But yeah, don't play this card. I don't think it's very good. But yeah. So that's where my head would be at if you're looking to test something else. Also, you can test out the Purification over the Magatama. The reason you would do that, like I said, is just if you think that you need it to make your going first better against Dragatail in the mirror match. But if you don't, then don't. Technically, you could argue more board breakers in the format, so Trap gets more value. Not entirely sure, but yeah. And then also, I would side the Wosu, because Wosu is very, very good against Lunalight, and Lunalight's looking like he's going to see a lot of play. Also, last thing, I wanted to go about some of the cards that I expect people to play against this deck. So I think Joel is probably going to see a bit more play. Not in the main deck because it's bad against Yummy and Jigotel, but in the side deck for the mainly Mitsurugi and then like stuff like Lunalight. So I would expect Joel. So like a card like Night Sword Serpent does get more value. Also, another card that I think will see more play, is Gravekeeper's Inscription. So I think Gravekeeper's Inscription is not a bad card in the next format, specifically for going first, using this effect. Neither player can activate card effects in the graveyard. If they go Gravekeeper's Inscription, you do this like use this effect, like when they're going first, you're going second. This actually limits a lot of your plays very, very heavily. Like bro, like what am I doing? Like, you know? So I think this card actually like is that nice. Also, it's good into Jigotel as well. And also like not only does it stop a lot of their like lines, but also like basically making like 5 mana fuse on your turn like really weak, which is cool. And then also it's good against some other decks too, like for example Lunalight. Like it's not bad into Lunalight as well, calling that neither player can activate card effects in the graveyard, which I think would be better than special summons from the graveyard. So this card is really, really good. How do you beat this card? I think Pure Mitsurugi has a hard time versus it. You would play another variant, but like, I don't know. Like somebody in my server mentioned was that continuing to play like Ryzeo cards in the deck, because even though it doesn't directly get you to engine, Ryzeo is like a better board breaker. It was a good board breaker. And then somebody asked me, like, or somebody mentioned, like, is X Ryzeo a better board breaker than Droplet? And I was thinking about it, and I'm like, low key, it is. Honestly, it is. Into like most decks, I think X Ryzeo is better going second than Droplet. So like he said that, right? And I was like, you're actually right. It actually is. So I removed it from my Droplet from my deck, and I started building a list with Ryzeo cards in it. And then I realized one X Ryzeo, like X Ryzeo being at 1 and not 2, make things very, very awkward. Because like I'm like, okay, like I want to play X Ryzeo, so I have 2 copies of X, and I go Sword, but I got X Sword. But then what do I summon off my Sword? Or what do I add off Sword, right? You add Ice Ryzeo, but then you want to play another name to like to have value, and then at that point it's like, bro, the only card I actually want to draw is X Ryzeo. I don't really want to draw Sword. I don't really want to draw Ice. So, and obviously the Sword and Ice are going to be not good going second. So, even though in a vacuum I think X Ryzeo is actually better going second than Droplet, because X Ryzeo requires you to play other cards with it, I don't think it's worth it. But it's something to keep in mind, I guess. And they're also there like, yeah, you just go, instead of King of the Fairlands, you go like do Gar's draw 2, and then you draw into it like a better player. Oh, also another thing with the Ryzeo package was the confliction with Extras, which I was thinking you can maybe make it work. I'm not going to cap. Like, you can maybe make it work. Like, maybe. So maybe that's something you test around with. I don't know. Also, last thing I want to mention is with the Phoenix package. I was thinking about siding it, but like still playing Extras, but maybe that's like Copium. I don't know. I know it sounds like super jank, like how that wouldn't even work, but I think it's a world where it maybe could, but I don't know, I have to mess around with that. Anywho, that's it for my Pure Mitsurugi deck profile. I hope you enjoyed the list, the theory, etc., etc. And if you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more content. And have a wonderful day.